Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring Echoes of the Unknown, Supernatural Encounters. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this solo role-playing journaling game, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about the game mechanics and facing the malevolent forces. The mechanics are actually quite simple. When it comes to the gameplay structure, this is designed to be played over a series of journaling sessions, with each session corresponding to a day in your character's journey. For each day, you need to follow certain steps. First, choose or roll for an encounter from the provided tables or create your own encounter. Then, you use the guidance statements provided for the encounter to help shape your journal entry. Next, write a journal entry from your character's perspective, describing the events of the day and how their attributes, that is perception, courage, and resilience, influence their actions. You can also roll on the emotion and key event tables to add depth and flavor to your journal entry. Now, what's the core mechanic? How do you carry out checks and tests and all of that? You need three types of dice when it comes to playing this journaling game. You're going to need a d6, a d10, and a d12. You're going to be rolling a d6 most of the time. You are going to be using your d10 and d12 when you are rolling on the tables. Now, when it comes to attribute rolls, every time you encounter a challenge in the game, maybe while investigating something, trying to confront a malevolent entity, you are going to be rolling a d6. You need to roll equal or below your attribute, and here lies a problem. So let's say that you have a perception of 5. You need to roll 5 or below. That's perfect. But what if you have an attribute of 6? It is impossible to roll above 6 with a d6. Now, this isn't too much of a big deal if you consider that your attributes will go down if you take damage during the game, if you fail some checks. But wait until we get to the Confronting Malevolent Forces section. Let's talk a bit about that. During your investigations, because this is a horror role-playing game, you're going to encounter malevolent entities. These forces can do all sorts of harm to your player character. If your attributes are reduced to 0, any of your attributes, it's game over for you. Something will happen, and we will talk about that in a few moments. Now, when it comes to the encounters themselves, you have encounter tables, but you can also create your custom encounters. If you use your encounter tables, you're basically journaling using the guidance statements to shape the journal entry. It's like your actual journal. The journal that you're using to record what happens during the game is pretty much the journal that your character uses in the fictional world. So you have daily oracle tables featuring daily focus. Perhaps there is a hunting. Today's encounters are focused on ghostly manifestations and interactions. Perhaps the emotional theme is fear. Today's encounters are dominated by a sense of dread and terror. You also have daily oracle tables with key events such as you encounter a supernatural being that defies classification or understanding. That is quite Lovecraftian. They also give you an example journal entry to guide you through the process. Now, when it comes to confronting malevolent forces, here is where the problem lies. You're going to be facing off against ghosts, demons, anything you can think of. But when it comes to resisting their attacks, if you fail your check against them, you need to make a resilience roll. What if you have a resilience of 6? You are always going to be succeeding at that roll. That means every time you end up damaged in some way during these encounters, you only suffer minor effects. But those minor effects are never explained. If you failed your roll, let's say that you have a resilience of 5, so you rolled a 6, that's a failure. Now you suffer some sort of damage. You have a lasting impact table. Perhaps one of your attributes is lowered temporarily or permanently. That's fine. You also have a curses table, because some of these effects could result in your character becoming cursed. So that's fine, that's perfect. But again, if your character has a resilience of 6, that character will never be subjected to the effects of this table. But there is a simple fix. Just make it impossible for you to have a resilience of 6 during character creation or otherwise. So that way, there is always a small chance of you failing that resilience check. And they never mention what these minor effects are when you are successful in your resilience check. Applying some logic, it is obvious that these minor effects are just based on the narrative flavor, the details. They won't have a mechanical effect upon your character. It's about the sort of experience that an investigator would suffer when confronting these forces. So you have to consider that when playing this RPG journaling game. Concerning the defeat table, when your character gets an attribute reduced to 0, you need to roll on this table. Maybe you end up possessed or destroyed, driven to madness, claimed by the spirits, and many other things. And of course, this journaling game contains many tables to come up with your ghosts, demons. I am going to avoid mentioning some of these descriptions of the different demon spawn and spectral raids and phantom shades, shadow binders, because maybe you want to discover things as you play along. You could create your own tables, but you also have tables detailing ghost encounters, demon encounters, so there is always going to be a new encounter no matter how many times you play. These entries and results will serve as inspiration for your own encounters. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about haunted locations, journaling tips, and many other things. So yes, I think there is an error here when it comes to the task resolution. Everything else about this journaling RPG horror experience is quite tight, quite solid. There is a good structure here. So there is an oversight as well concerning the resilience checks, but easily fixed as I have mentioned. You only need to put a restriction over resilience, so that you can't have a resilience of 6. And when it comes to the minor effects when you are successful in your resilience roll, take it as narrative details, some minor setbacks, rather than some supernatural attack that may end up crippling you. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.